Right, we are then, folks. It's Chris and Robbie. We're down here at the Coca-Cola Fan Zone by McGettigan's. The radio show has finished, but work continues for us, Robbie, because we're joined now by a great of the game. 65 caps for France. He spent 7 years with Arsenal. He spent 3 years with Man City. He spent a bit of time with Roberto De Zerbi as well. We'll get to that over in Italy at Benevento. And then he finished his career in Canada. Not a bad career, that, Rob.
Not bad at all. It is the one and only Bacary Sagna. Back, it's great to have you alongside us down here at the Coca-Cola Arena by McGettigan's. Enjoying the Euros. Of course, the group stage is in full swing. We've seen some great games so far. We've seen some brilliant goals, which you've alluded to during our broadcast. Who stood out for you? Who's impressed you so far? What games have really stood out?
Yeah, first of all, it's good to be back with you guys. It's a fantastic tournament, fantastic teams. I think everyone is been enjoying the games, and of course, teams like Germany or Portugal have been, to me, the best teams, most solid. Germany is a host, starting well the tournament, having fantastic players, especially one of them, Jamal Musiala, which is performing to the perfection. He reminds me of a bit of Podolski when Podolski broke into the team in the World Cup. So we're going to talk about that also. But Portugal also, I was quite impressed. We didn't see them performing well during the Euro 2016. They never really performed during a competition, but now it seems to be very solid, and they managed to create so many chances. And the question was about Ronaldo, but it's more than a team now. It's about him, so it's very exciting tournament.
We talked about it, and I have talked about it back. I look across all of these teams. We're talking about young stars of not just today, but stars of tomorrow as well. You look across all the major nations. We're talking about Jamal Musiala at 21, Florian Wirtz as well in that German team at 21, Lamine Yamal for Spain at just 16, Jude Bellingham for England at 20. It is remarkable. And Arda Güler for Turkey at just 19. It seems to me that we're ushering in the new guard, if you will, the stars that we're going to be talking about for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it's it's impressive because they are still kids. They could be my kids, some of them, actually.
That's a scary thought.
Well, your son is 15, right?
My son is 15.
And
so
Lamine Yamal is nearly 17.
So when I found out he was 16, I was like, oh, I look at my son and thinking, you late. But no, it's fascinating. And being good is something. The maturity of them. The maturity they have at their young age is, for me, the most impressive, because they seem to be playing like they are in a garden. And you have pressure, you have the fans, you have the intensity, and they manage to cope very well. And they manage to be some of the best players. And all of them have been really important for the national team. Florian Wirtz being important for his club, but even more for the national team now. Jamal Musiala, I think is to me, is the player of the tournament
so far
now.
Yeah.
But you have many. Jude Bellingham, I can name them, but the maturity they have at a young age is the most impressive. They have personality.
It also feels like you almost need that. An international team, and I think Rooney for England back in 2004, Mbappe for France in 2018. You almost need to hang your hat on that vibrancy, that fearlessness of youth. How important, you've been in those dressing rooms, is it to have those 18, 19-year-old kids around you who do have that fearlessness?
Well, I think it's really important to have a good mix, because they are the future. And you need to be smart enough when you see them joining the team to be able to guide them, because this is a role as an ex-player. But also it's good because they bring competition into the squad. At their age, they are not scared about anything. They just have personalities, they play with personality, and when you're part of a team and you see a young player, you want to push him and you want to make him shine. You want to help him maybe reach his dream and maybe evolving as a player. So it's always nice to see young players. But now with the technology, they learn quicker, faster. They learn new skills at 10. They can do skills that we are not able to do. So it's not surprising at the same time, because they are very dedicated about football. They only talk football, they eat football, they watch football, and they're surrounded by sometimes ex-football players as family members. So yes, it's very good for us fans, because we became fans now to see them performing, and it's bright for football. It's bright for football.
You obviously played the game at the highest level for many a year back. I'm always intrigued. I can sit here and wax lyrical about someone like Lamine Yamal. At 16 years of age, he's doing his GCSEs, for goodness sake. He's doing his exams. As a player that has played the game at the very highest level, break it down for us. What is he doing at 16 that is just so impressive?
He has personality. He's not scared to take on players. You know, sometimes when you try at a young age and you fail, you're scared to lose the ball again because your teammates might complain about you. They might complain about maybe trying to make you pick another choice. But he seems like to be full of confidence. He will try over and over and over again. And this is when you have strong personality. I personally was disturbed if someone was making a remark to me, or I would be disturbed because my choice will be different. He's not. He just play, but I think the fact that he's playing for Barcelona at a young age or so is big because he has a coach that pushes him to dribble. He is in a club that pushes players to develop their own quality, and dribbling is one of his main qualities. So since he's young, they probably pushed him to do it. So for him, it seems to be natural, and it's important to have coaches that pushes you to develop your own quality, because nowadays, you know, we always talk about tiki-taka, about passing the ball, about respecting two touches. But I think it's really important also sometimes when you have special players, because they are special players, to push them into doing what they do the best. So it takes good quality, but it takes good surrounding also, and I think all of them, they are surrounded by good coaches.
Back, you were with us for our World Cup show. You know we love putting you on the spot.
Yes.
You know we love throwing top fives at you. So listen, no pressure, but just off the top of your head, who are the 5 players at this Euros that stand out for you, that are the outstanding stars at this tournament? I know we're only into the group stages, but from what we've seen and from what you're expecting in the matches to come.
Well, number 5, I would put Saliba.
Okay.
Why?
Nice.
Why? Because before the competition, not long ago, the coach was talking about him and talk about him as a non-favorite to start, even in the starting 11. He was very solid the first game, and it's not easy because the context of the game was not easy for him to just get into playing directly. It's a competition, and you know he was under pressure because of the coach remark. But I think he did well, not only now but all over the season. Number 4, I will put maybe Kai Havertz, because I was the first one to give a bad critics of him playing number 9.
Yeah.
You know, he's not naturally a number 9, but so far so good. He's been scoring goals all season, and even now with the national team, he's been scoring. And
is that
very
Mikel
effective.
Arteta that's had that effect on him, do you think?
I think so. It's about confidence. The confidence and the trust that Mikel put on him is really important.
Spent big money on him
at some
and
point,
has trusted him.
At some point, the price tag was taking over.
Yeah.
And everyone was complaining about him. I was complaining about him, if I want to be fair, because I was disappointed, but he proved me wrong. He proved many people wrong, and I'm pleased to see him performing. Of course, Jude Bellingham, because to me, at his age, doing what
Are we still having an
he's
Englishman in
doing.
this top 5, Bacary?
Just for you.
You're being very kind there.
He's amazing. He's amazing. When you see him performing, you see how important it is for the national team. Of course, people were complaining about the level of the national team. But I think it's just pressure, too much pressure on the English team, because all of them, they are top players. They can't maybe deal with the pressure because it's a different pressure when you go national team. It's probably the team that play with the most pressure in the world. So they have to cope with it because they have no other options. But when you have players like Jude Bellingham that can maybe change the situation of the game by himself, is good. Toni Kroos, of course.
Number 2, Tony.
Toni Kroos is just magnificent. He's like a Mozart of the game. He always picks the right decision, always sets the right tempo, always picks the right players, the right pass, scoring goals. His delivery is great. And I think, to me, if he performs well at the Euro, he will be maybe a winner of the Golden Ball this season.
Oh.
I believe he can.
Do you have any theory back that if he performs really well here, he might be convinced
to
continue playing?
To me, he might reverse his decision.
He's 34
because he's still performing, and he's still probably was the best at his position. So it's surrounding, people around him will be telling him.
Well, I don't think anyone has won the Ballon d'Or and retired in the same season.
No.
Or at least I'd have to go back through the annals and check, but that would probably be a first. It would be a way to go out on the top, though.
It might have been something to do with mental tiredness, maybe. Because sometimes when you play the game and you're gone every 3 days, it can be tiring and demanding. And when you're supposed to rest, you go national team also. He did it once, he came back to the national team, so he proved he can change decisions. So hopefully for football lovers, he will change decision, because to me he's a fantastic player.
So he's in at number 2, which
so we've got
poses the
Saliba,
question.
we've got Havertz, we've got Bellingham, we've got Kroos.
And number one,
I think we know where
Musiala.
number 1 is going.
Musiala.
Musiala.
Yes,
Wow.
class. What is
Musiala
it about
is-
him back? Because we were actually talking about this recently. I love his balance. There's an elegance to Jamal Musiala. He's able to drift past players on both sides. He can go right, he can go left, and very few players can do that. I think of Messi, Eden Hazard, of course, could do it with ease. They had low centre of gravities. He just glides across the pitch, Jamal Musiala. He is just a wonderful player to watch.
Yeah, he's naturally gifted. He's the type of player that can do anything with the ball and without any pressure also, one more time. Doing things is good, but when you have the ball and you represent the national team, it's different. It's different. The pressure is different, and everyone will be talking about you. And now he's being representing his team perfectly. He's being uplifting by the end of the season. And I think everyone will agree he's a player of the tournament, and he's enjoying football. And this is nice to see. You know, it's not always about how much you can shine on the social media, or when you have someone doing well, you have to make people notice. And I think everyone has been clearly noticed that he's probably one of the best youngsters and to watch, and the one performing also.
Well,
So
Germany's gain on Jamal Musiala has been England's loss. Of course, he was part of the England youth setup. He was good friends with Jude Bellingham. They played in the same under-16 England squads. He then decided to then switch allegiance. He is now Germany's main man.
He wanted to
your
win
point.
stuff.
He wanted to win stuff.
Yeah.
I was getting to that point as a proud Scotsman. He's probably made the right decision back. Let's talk about England, though, because I know you've already alluded to the fact that you feel it's just pressure.
yes,
There is more pressure on England than anywhere else. There's got to be a little bit more to it than that, though, back. I mean, Gareth Southgate's come in for a lot of criticism in some quarters, and you know, we often talk about just get good players together back and you give yourself a chance. A manager, however, is vitally important to ensuring that that group of players perform to their optimum. What do you make of what England have done thus far and where they're headed?
well, I can't be pleased with the level of the game they've been showing, and we know all of the players are probably at the top of the game. We know the quality they have, so of course you will get disappointed, but I'm not surprised, because for England to perform in a top competition is really difficult. It didn't happen for such a long time. Of course it happened at home when they were the hosts, but I think surrounding by the fans was different. Performing in a competition for England didn't happen for a long time. I can't
But
even
every
remember.
nation back, every nation has home pressure. Every nation has expectation placed on them by the media. You know, England, with all due respect to them, they need to be able to deal with that. And you look at Jude Bellingham. He's 20 years of age. He goes to Real Madrid, and he immediately seizes a leadership role
Yes.
at the club, where he becomes their main man almost. You know, someone who's not just scoring crucial goals, but is dragging the team through tough matches. Maybe not so much in the Champions League, I take that point, but certainly in La Liga. So he's failed to impose himself on this England team, to me so far, that they look a bit lost. And I just wonder, you've been in those dressing rooms for France. Why is that?
I agree with you, Robbie. I think the coach has something to do with this also. Tactically, we didn't see much. We didn't see unbalancing any of the opponents they've been playing. It's not from today. But sometimes when you have a coach that stays, how long has he been the coach for England?
He's now 8 years, 9 years.
9 years as a coach of national team is a lot. Maybe you need something new. You might need a new face, maybe new ideas. And also playing for national team is very different from playing from the club. You are not used to play with players. When you have to play one touch, some player will be playing with 2 or 3. When you have to play and respect the game, some players will run with the ball. So that changes your habits. And if you are not able to cope with this change, sometimes it's difficult. And this is probably what happened with the national team. When I joined, we had fantastic players. Thierry Henry, Makelele, we had all of them. But I found it difficult because It was totally different from the football I knew in Arsenal. Arsenal was 1-2 touches. That's it. Moving. You give, you move. You give, you move. There you had players with more personality. So everyone was maybe trying to do what he was the best at doing, but it was not necessarily good for the national team. And this is probably what happened in the national team of England. Sometimes you need to respect football by playing the most simple and stop running with the ball and stop thinking you need to be special or do something just because it's a special competition, and as a captain you need to do something special. Or maybe Jude Bellingham, everyone expecting a lot from me, maybe to score, I have to do the same as I'm doing with Madrid. But the context, the vibe is different. Yeah. You need to adopt a new rule.
The biggest compliment you can pay Germany, albeit, okay, they played Scotland, no offence, and Hungary in their opening 2 matches, but they look like a club team.
Yes.
They're playing with a verve and a pace and an incision that you would expect to see from an Arsenal, for example.
Yes,
the way they have organised themselves, the way they move the ball in patterns, intricacies, that simply England just aren't producing. England are kind of fudging their way through games, relying on a burst of speed from Kyle Walker here, a little touch from Phil Foden there. We were talking about it. They look a bit like an even worse version of Manchester United.
A bit.
Gary Neville said famously that Man United play in moments. But it's harder, isn't it, to marshal a group of international players.
It's very difficult
to resemble a well-oiled club team.
It's very difficult, and I believe you talk about Germany, Robbie. The team is the most important. No matter how well the player is performing, if he's not sticking to the team, he's out. And this is the case for Hummels. Hummels is out.
Yeah.
Why? He has been playing the Champions League final, but the coach assumed for the style of play of the national team is not good enough to play. And the team remains the most important. This is the difference with England. You saw some players performing, being on the bench. And the ones that are playing are not performing at the minute.
Cole Palmer.
Why is he not playing? How many goals did he score?
20, over 20 goals, and he had double assists and assists.
Okay, and why is he not playing? Because Kane is the captain? So you will not move a player that has been outstanding and performing and probably the best English striker at the minute just because he's competing with the captain? At some point you need to be taking strong decisions. And if no offense against Kane. Kane has been doing well, but I didn't see him perform with the national team for a long time.
No, he hasn't. Certainly in this tournament so far, he's not been good. And back, Trent Alexander-Arnold playing in midfield. As we have remarked many times, as many people have, if he was playing in that position week in, week out for his club side, you could understand it. He hasn't been. And I wonder your take on that, to move from a right back into central midfield, trying to pull that off.
Pep's fault.
It's Pep's fault.
It's Pep's fault. Why would you change? I mean, England has enough midfield players, good midfield players, able to play in the national team. Why would you switch and take a naturally right back into the middle position?
Yeah.
Because he did well one league game and he's been scoring and you have the good press about him. Why would you do this? You have enough good players playing their own position since they are 6 years old to play them. So why would you change? Tactically? So how would the number 6 or midfield player will take this?
Exactly.
Are we not good enough? This is our position and we see a right back playing our position. So the coach has to be careful because he will lose his players surely. And the players won't be happy. They won't show, but for sure internally they're not happy. And if you don't have a good vibe during a competition, it's difficult to play.
If the manager asked you to play central midfield, would you have played it?
Well, I did. I got asked to go into the middle, but for me I was not naturally able to do this because I've been playing right back. Even if you manage to play well 1 game, 2 games, you need habits, sometimes it's about the momentum. You won't lose the ball, but that was not necessarily the right decision to take on the pitch. So of course, you're doing well, you set up the game from the back, but maybe the situation that was required was to turn and go forward and play forward quicker. So I'm against, honestly.
England, the way they're headed for an early exit from the competition. Can you see any version of this England team that can turn things around? And
no.
Nor can I. Nor can I. Watching them last night, I'm totally with you.
I wish. I'm a fan of England. I lived in England. A part of me is English because I live so much and I loved living there and playing. I love the players. I love the fans. because they're a bit crazy, and the way they sing it's nice to see. They love football. But I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because before being a player, I was a fan also when Beckham was playing, when all of them were playing. I was supporting England. But it's difficult to watch an English game. It's quite boring. Nothing is happening.
No, it's right. Amazing. I was watching intently last night. England scored in an early goal, I think it was the 17th minute or something like that. They had done absolutely nothing. I mean, literally nothing up until that point. They just found one move down the right-hand side, released Kyle Walker. It was a defensive mistake, and in he comes. And then England, immediately having scored, retreat into their shell and just say to Denmark, just come and overwhelm us. Come and just swarm all over us. We're just going to retreat and fail to retain control of the ball, which they've done so many times before.
Yeah, but one more time, it's Pep's fault. Pep is guilty because some of the team's quality is not to play out from the back. They don't. Not
they all want to do
play
it
out from the back sometimes, and the quality of England is to play more direct. They have fast players. They have players that can hurt directly on one-on-one, on set pieces, on long balls. They are good at it, but they don't use it anymore because it's good to play out from the back.
I agree with you. And too much emphasis on pressing.
Too much.
Thank you. Right.
Too much. Let's get back into basics. For them, is to be direct. One touch, two touch, space, cross, bring madness into the game. This is how they used to be difficult. No one wants to play in a team start playing like that. They have the players to do it, so why don't they do it?
One man who was poor, I thought, against Denmark was Declan Rice. He's had a great season for Arsenal, and I've seen one or two pundits, James McLean, former Republic of Ireland international, I think he may still be a bit bitter over the fact that Declan Rice chose to play for England and not Ireland. He has suggested back that Declan's maybe just a bit too overhyped, maybe a bit too overrated by the English press. You've played with some great midfielders, Patrick Vieira. You look at what N'Golo Kante's still doing for France. Are you a fan of Declan? Is Declan as good as what some would have us believe he is?
No, he's good. He's good. He's really good. He's physical. He's a type of player that probably not the best technically, but in a squad, in a team, is very important. He has some physicalities that can bring maybe some power in the middle of the part. On set pieces, he will be good. He's a good going forward also. He's managed to score a few goals. So that's a bit harsh on him. It's not about him. Maybe he's not performing the way he's performing with Arsenal, but he's not the only one. So I still believe he can probably be one of the best at his position in the world, and he has quality. All of them are quality. This is why we are disappointed. Because if you take them one-on-one, they're probably part of the best top three at each position. But as a team, it's not happening. And I'm not surprised because it's not the only time, it's not the only national team that is not performing. At some point, Portugal was leaning on Cristiano Ronaldo, but all of them stopped playing, waiting for him. We struggled with the national team when we had all these superstars. We couldn't even play
look
well.
at Brazil in the last few World Cups.
Yes.
Struggled to live up to expectations on them. It does happen.
It's like a syndrome. But I believe the coach has to change the philosophy of the game, get back into basics, and take strong decisions. Maybe he wants to play Trent because he doesn't want to pick between him and Kyle Walker. But if you're coach, this is your responsibility.
Of course it is.
And play players at that position.
So we've established England aren't winning this Euros. Who is winning this Euros back?
I see Germany. Germany are the host. They are terrific. As you mentioned, they play like a club. They know perfectly each other. Their move is spot on and they respect the game. None of them is trying to overplay. When he play an easy pass, he will do it. He will respect the run. He will respect the fact that the space is open. They will play in the right momentum, in the right tempo. And it's really important to have players like that. And it's the only team with Portugal that have been performing, but they are the host, and I believe being home is something special for them.
You mentioned there, which I find quite interesting, that at France, when you first broke through, you had a collection of individuals. You needed a manager who could really build the collective. I want to get a bit of insight into Didier Deschamps, if I can, Bacary, because he has been in that job for ages. I think Zizou's agitating. Zidane wants it, but Didier is saying, Zizou, you can wait your turn because I want to see out this golden generation. I want to still win trophies. You played under him. What makes Didier Deschamps? I actually think he's actually underrated. I don't think we talk enough about Didier Deschamps and the success that he's had, because people forget back, he took Monaco to the Champions League final back in 2004 where he was beaten by Jose Mourinho's Porto. This is a guy who's had success at Juventus, Serie B okay, but he won trophies at Juventus. He's come into France and he's brought you guys together. What's he do that's so special?
I think his strength is to be able to build a group that can live together for three weeks, 1 month. You know, whenever we go in a competition, we have a build-up of 2.5 weeks together, plus another 2.5 weeks of competition. So you need smart players. Whenever you take a decision, you need to have players that kiss positive.
Yeah.
You need to have players that maybe even when they have to play 5 minutes, will give 100%. You need players that even if they don't play the first 2 games, still
positive,
in the right mindset. And he's good at it. And when he came, he had some controversial decisions about Nasri, about Benzema. Everyone was complaining, but at the end of the day, he managed to build a group that could live together. Maybe some players were not as good as the other players, but he assumed that to live as a community, maybe it was better for the group. I know both of them. Nasri had never been a problem. Benzema neither. I think they are a great addition, and I believe if we have them in Euro, we could have won, and we will have won. But he takes decision that the English coach is not taking.
Yeah.
Big decisions.
He's like a more tactically astute Gareth Southgate, essentially, because France have always struggled to be that together unit, haven't they? I mean, yes. 2002 was a great example. They were disarray.
Yes.
You know, in 2010 as well, there was a lot of infighting, which kind of self-destructed the team.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, this is a guy you need for an international manager. You need a man manager, a people person who can bring everyone together and then organise them. And I think Didier can do both. Gareth has proven that he can manage people very well and very astutely and bring a collective group together again, but he can't organise them on a field to the best of their potential.
Well, he seems to be struggling, but one more time, he's young. Still young. He seems to be a nice guy, but sometimes you don't have to be nice as a coach. Oh. You're not there to be nice, and you're not there to play everyone and give time to the players. You are here and you as a coach to take decisions. I know sometimes if it's not your personality, you have to change, or you have to do it for the well-being of the group. But he hasn't been, to me, able to do it. I didn't see him taking Hurricane out.
Well, he did. He took him off for the final 20 against Denmark, but to your point, he still started, and he'll still start for the remainder of this tournament, and that's the point I think you're getting at.
When you do this, which message are you sending to Cole Palmer?
And to Ollie Watkins and to the
Cole Palmer has been sitting for the 2 games, right?
Yeah, he's not played a minute.
Why?
Playing maybe 2 minutes.
They are struggling. They need to score, but he's sitting on the bench. Why would you do this? Or maybe you play on the safe mode, but now they need to win the last game.
Yeah, and he's
now
a proven goal scorer. That to me is the most puzzling of all. That we haven't seen him yet. The fact that he's had such an incredible breakout season for a struggling team, which England are. Cole Palmer dragged Chelsea through so many games. He might just drag England through one. And he's not been given the chance to do so.
But Gareth's now backed into a corner, so he may well have to bring in a Cole Palmer to save himself. I'm really intrigued as to what he does. In terms of big decisions that you've seen back, and we go back to 2016, I hate to do it to you, but a home European Championships, France would get to the final, you would ultimately lose to Portugal in that final. And listen, football and life's about up and downs. Is that the most disappointed you've ever been after a football match, losing that final?
I was upset. Not because we lost, but mostly because of the way we lost. We didn't play as a team. We didn't respect the game. We didn't play as smooth as we did to reach the final. All the competition, we play simple. We play with desire. We play with intensity. But for some reason, during the final, we didn't. We led Pepe and I can't remember who was the...
Jose Fonte.
They were in their garden. No one pressed them. Them, Rui Patricio, they play like no pressure. Okay. As defense, we were less aggressive also. we gave them too much space, and from the first minute, I think Nani could have scored on a long ball, and then they have different options. So this didn't happen during the competition also.
Be very honest, when Cristiano Ronaldo gets injured and is forced off, mentally, did you think, we've got this? Their main man has just gone off. We're going to win this.
No, I don't think so. I remember when Ronaldo sat on the floor, I remember Nani next to me having tears coming, and I was shocked because I'm like, oh, even he realized he's in trouble, but it's opposite. All of them, they found, I think, freedom into playing. So they didn't play for Ronaldo anymore, and they were not scared about him screaming at them. They just play for free. And I remember on my side, João Mario.
Yeah, João Mario.
He followed me from one corner to one corner. I didn't have any space. Anything I was doing, he was following me. If I had 1 meter advance, he will get me back. So they found energy that was required for them to win, and they had togetherness. You could feel on the pitch they were like that. When one used to make the tackle, put his leg, put his body, they were all positive and encouraging themselves.
Yeah.
And I could feel on the pitch that was a difficult game. And obviously, when you don't score, after creating so many chances, you end up conceding. And we conceded a goal that, for me, made me upset because I initiated with a throw-in the action. The ball slipped from my hands. And then you had Gignac and Griezmann maybe not fighting for the ball in between. Moutinho got the ball. And then you had a bit Moussa Sissoko out rather than cutting the line. And then you have Koscielny that tried to go ahead of the striker. And then you have Umtiti not stepping in. And then you have Lloris, so it's...
There are enough people in between you and the goal, I think, back to protect yourself from
what I mean is, on the same action we created and we made at least 8 mistakes on the same actions.
Yeah.
And naturally they scored.
How long does it take you to get over that? Losing a final like that?
A month. Because, it was my last major competition at home. In front of my family, in front of my friends. That would have been perfect for me. And
when they won the 2018 World Cup, I know you weren't a part of it, but did you feel in a weird way that a wrong had been righted there? Even a personal one?
I was happy for the team. I was happy for the country. I was happy for the coach, for the players, because they are my friends before anything. But I was sad because I belong to that team. Yeah. And the fact that I didn't play leaving City just because I kept my integrity and wanted to get valued, took me out of football. I think I was punished for that, for not playing. But I was still good. I was still the same. I played the first game of qualification, but I decided to keep my integrity because I had strange offers. I didn't have any offers from France, as an example. So I'm free agent coming out of City. None of the French club came to me.
Not one?
Not one. Robbie.
That's crazy.
Not one. I had offers from Turkey, but that was a bit sensitive. I didn't want to take my family there, so I ended up not playing. Leicester came to me, approached me last day of transfer window. They approached me, they offered me a contract, but they put too many clauses. And I was like, no, I can't sign this, it's impossible. I asked them to remove some of the clauses, and at the end of the day, I spent 8 hours on my sofa waiting like an idiot. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was disrespect.
So you were going to move there?
I was. Yeah. They got my medical report from City. They just told me, you come, you sign. I say, no, you change these clauses. I ended up waiting 7 hours on my sofa. I didn't explain to anyone. You are actually the first one to know. 2 days later, they came back, and I believe they've signed a Portuguese player at the last minute.
Ricardo Pereira?
No, Adrian Silva.
Adrian Silva, yeah.
So they told me that regarding the financial fair play, they didn't know if they could get me. And 2 days later, they asked me to go and start training with the team without anything, without any contract, as if I was on trials, which I refused. But at the end of the day, because I kept my dignity and my values, I didn't play for 6 months. I got punished for that.
Did City want to keep you back?
No, they changed. Because I was 34, They got Kyle Walker, which for me was better than me at that point. I'm honest.
Well, he was in his early 20s at that point.
Got him from Tottenham, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, no, he's 34 now, so he would have been
mid-20s.
Yeah,
Bought from
he
Tottenham.
was better. He was the one to pick for City, and spot on. For me, he was the best at his position, so it was normal. But
so watching that World Cup final in 2018, you're watching it a kind of obviously happy, delighted for Didier and the players, but a sadness there as well.
I was upset. I was upset at how it happened.
Yeah.
Because you keep your values, you don't play, so you're out of the team. And also, before going national team, that previous summer, you always have friendly games.
Yeah.
I found out on TV like I was not involved because I didn't really play the last months of my spell at City. But what is better?
And Didier didn't call you?
I learned at school, watching the list. I didn't know. For 10 years in a row, I'm in
And
65 caps, I mean.
For 10 years in a row, I go national team. And for the first time in 10 years, I didn't even plan my holiday. I found out like everyone, I'm not involved.
He didn't call you?
No. The doc called me and asking me why I didn't play at City. I got injured. But the doc called me twice, I believe.
The French doctor, the French national team doctor.
Have you spoken to Didier since?
No.
You've not spoken to Didier Deschamps since?
I didn't.
So the last conversation that you've had with Didier Deschamps...
The last time I went national team, I got injured because after the Euro, I came back to City tired. I didn't have any preseason. After 5 games, I played a friendly game against Arsenal in Sweden. First game of season, I got injured because I was tired. I played 50 plus games. And then I never recovered because I didn't have preseason. And then obviously when you are 33, you become old towards people. I didn't have preseason. So I never catch back. I never had any muscle injury in my life. Maybe one in all my spelling as a player. But that specific season, I had 3. So every time the day before going national team, I get injured. I went national team, first qualification game against Bulgaria. 5 minutes, I sprint, I get injured. But I create a penalty.
Your
so
last
it was
act
1-0
as a
down.
French player.
No, because I have too much pride. I stay on the pitch for 20 minutes, injured.
Oh my God.
And I made an assist to make the 1-1, and it was my last action for national team ever.
France.
Yeah.
And that's that game's the last time you've spoken
It's my last game I played
and
for
of course,
national team.
at the time, you had no notion that was going to be the last time you were going to play for France. You probably imagined...
Not even a minute.
Yeah.
Not even a minute.
In your mind, you were thinking, I'm going to be in a team for the...
Okay, I didn't play much the last 3 months with City, but I'm in City.
Yeah.
I'm not playing for... I'm in City. I'm competing with some players, and what is his best? To play for one of the best in the world and be on the bench, or play some of the game, not every single game, or play for a lower team and play every game. But I have the feeling I got punished also for this. So
I've spoken to you in the past back, and you've said that you're a strange relationship with France, the national team. When you first broke through, there was a lot of criticism in the press. You were an easy target.
Yes.
From what you've just told us there, it didn't end the way that you wanted to. It was handled poorly. How do you reflect then on your France career? Is it one of apathy? Is it one of joy?
It's to wear the shirt is special. I value this a lot, and I'm grateful for this. But I believe they were difficult with me, especially when I lost my brother. I used to go back. I didn't want to go back and play because all they were doing is just destroying me. I was playing with Ribéry in front of me. They will ask me why I don't attack more. Do you think with Ribéry's quality I need to go ahead of him and ask him to defend? When I had Valbuena, did you think he's a defender? He's not. I'm a defender. I didn't have any problem defending 2 against 1. I had Anelka, same. But they used to hammer me for not attacking.
The press, you mean?
The press. And when I see them defending, some of them are defending now, And some of the defending that I saw during the World Cup 2018, I saw them defending them. Oh yes, but they are 2-against-1. Because I was not 2-against-1. And still, I didn't struggle the same way. But they were always harsh. And look, I'm out of City. I'm free agent. I'm still potentially in the national team. You have 20 professional clubs playing for the first division in France. Not even once come to me. Why?
That's crazy. It's totally puzzling.
These are facts.
Was your agent in touch with them? Was he making calls on your behalf?
Honestly,
in Ligue 1?
all the clubs, some clubs came. Turkey, Besiktas.
Not one in France.
Not one in France.
Why, Back? Why?
I don't know.
Because we've known you for a while. You don't strike me as being a difficult player, a difficult man.
Never talk.
You're humble.
I never created problems. I don't like the camera. When I used to go national team, I used to run away from the camera. You don't know. People don't know much about me. I never liked it. I never created any problem. I'm in the dressing room, I don't talk.
And would you have conversations with Arsene about this? Arsene's a Frenchman, of course.
Arsene knows. If you ask him, he will tell you. Because he was commentating the game. He knows.
He knows that you were unfairly targeted.
He knows.
And what do you think?
And even some coaches like Dominic, one day he called me and he said, "What have you done to the press?" During training session. And when I got injured, Didier Deschamps talked to me and told me, "Look, I know it's difficult for the press. I don't know why they're so harsh with you."
Is it because you ran away from them? Because you weren't...
I can't tell you, I don't know.
Do you think it's racial?
I have no idea. I can't say it's racial because I don't have specific. I don't want to say it's racial.
No, of course not.
I have no idea.
Let's find out.
It's truly puzzling. So
It is.
You were 34 years of age. You were recovering from an injury. You were a free agent. You'd just come out of Manchester City's books.
No
and
French club.
let's be honest, Ligue 1 is not the same quality even back then as the Premier League.
No.
No
so
one came.
therefore, that's
It is puzzling.
totally bizarre.
Yeah.
Totally bizarre.
When I left City, Brighton came. Besiktas came. Leicester came. But there is coming and coming. Besiktas, they come with the lowest offer. They will not even give her 18 years old. Of course, I will say no.
Of course.
I value myself.
Of course.
When I have clubs coming, some of the clubs, same. Sorry, why? Why do I need to ask while I'm free agent? If you go and ask any players today, free agent, do you think they get offers low as the one I received? One more time, it's not a problem for me. But I decided not to play. This is the reason why I didn't play.
Because you had respect for yourself.
I could not. I respect myself.
You have too many values.
I'm not going to talk about numbers and details, but
No,
it
of
was a
course.
disrespect. That was a total disrespect. I say I don't play. And the fact that Leicester disrespected me this much, it was the cherry on the cake.
Did that make it in a way easier to call it quits? And just because you drew a line basically to say, right, that's it, and it gave you a bit of closure in that sense?
I was in a position, because I invested, to say no. But then I was thinking, look, how come you're home? You're leaving City, free agent, you're home. I used to watch the games. I used to go and train on a community pitch alone, which is not a problem for me. But when this happens, that puts things in perspective. Yeah. And then I was thinking, okay, now it's your time to think. You need to protect the youth generation. You need to stop this happening to other players. So what I did, I used this as a positive. I created a football app.
You've done that, yeah.
So my app will be to actually educate people about football, to avoid people to get screwed by agent, to avoid players to be in a weird situation, to educate people about contract also. So my aim is to be able to be like a mentor to them.
Yeah, pass on your experiences.
Exactly. To make them avoid the mistakes we probably did and thousands of players are doing every day.
Well, I know that whole sorry affair and you kicking your heels on the sidelines for 6 months. You'd eventually end up in Italy with Benevento. I've got to talk about this man because I have to praise you back because we've known each other for a very long time. We've had you on our shows for numerous years. Before certainly the Premier League, before the English, the British public became aware of Roberto De Zerbi, you worked under him at Benevento, and I'll never forget back, you were in our studio, and I asked you the best manager that you've worked under, and as quick as a flash, you said Pep Guardiola.
Yes.
Second best manager you've ever worked under. And listen, I'm being not disrespectful to Arsene Wenger here. An amazing man, an amazing manager. But you said to us, guys, listen, there's a guy you might not know called Roberto De Zerbi.
Yes.
He is a genius.
He is.
And he's proven that. He's proven that back.
He is.
Listen, he's not on a job. We expect him to head to France. Olympique Marseille are interested. Are you surprised that Chelsea? Are you surprised that Bayern Munich, AC Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, they've all changed managers this summer? Are you surprised that none of them picked up the phone to Roberto De Zerbi?
Yes, I'm surprised because to me it's one of the best, and that came out of the mouth of Guardiola himself. It's good. I've been training with him when I was in Italy. I had chance to exchange with him also, and I could see directly that they had the same ideas. When you saw what he made from Sassuolo,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. When you saw what he made from Brighton, was genius. And I think he's probably one of the top coach on the scene at the minute with Arteta, with Guardiola, with Klopp. He's probably to me in the top 4.
Will he do something special if he does go to Marseille? Will he do something special there?
Marseille is a strong environment.
It's a strange one, huh?
It's not always about the coach. The atmosphere, the environment is very difficult. So I hope he can create something. He has a bit of madness, which is good, that the fans might like.
Yeah, he's a bit. He's madcap.
Is there a reason, do you think, that Liverpool, Manchester United, of course, have stuck with Erik ten Hag, even though we thought they wouldn't? Chelsea have employed Enzo Maresca. Is there a reason why those 3 clubs sort of took a pass on De Zerbi?
Is he a bit mad?
He's not. He is good to be around him. He's been performing. He's been proving himself. I think it's just amazing. But I'm surprised they didn't pick him. Maybe they tried and he said no himself to do something different.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think he will have the choice. And look, everyone know who he is today, and then we don't know how well he can make a team play. And everyone knows the importance he can have for a club. So maybe lack of experience.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe lack of experience because he's been doing good with
Smaller clubs.
teams. And maybe they were looking for someone that maybe being on the scene longer time and maybe assistant of bigger coach or something like that.
Last couple from us, because we've kept you long enough. I want to just ask about this trend. Robbie's already mentioned Enzo Maresca. Yes. Chelsea plumping for him, winning the championship with Leicester City. Bayern Munich, Bacary, going for Vincent Kompany, who was relegated with Burnley and won just 5 Premier League matches. That is a trend that I find a little bit perplexing in truth. We're not talking, with the greatest of respects, of middle-of-the-road clubs. We're talking about global, iconic brands in Chelsea and Bayern Munich. It is a younger man's sport. We've been talking about the young players that are illuminating Euro 2024. What have you made of those appointments, that these big clubs are going for largely unproven young managers?
Well, I was surprised. How did that happen? I don't know, but I'm pleased for Vincent, first of all, because as a bit of Pep, his idea will be the same as Pep, but it's a we're talking about Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in the world, different pressure, and Vincent has been playing in Germany.
Yeah,
he knows the league. He speaks German perfectly. He's being managed by Pep Guardiola, so they think the shadow of Pep will come to Bayern.
Yeah.
But it's a big one. So hopefully he will perform, but performing with Burnley in Championship is something. But we noticed that going ahead and performing in the Premier League is different. Of course, you can't judge because financially you don't have the same power as other teams. It's always difficult. So we will know what his real value as a coach will be, because competing against Man City for Burnley is impossible. Competing against most of the team is impossible because financially they don't have the same power.
No.
So.
But he's under immediate pressure because Bayer Leverkusen are the champions of Germany, and Bayern Munich will not accept 2 barren seasons in the Bundesliga.
Well, it's probably good that not his first season he didn't manage to win.
Yeah,
true.
Because now he doesn't have as much pressure as he would have had.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this question as well. Arsenal, they've just missed out to Man City in each of the last 2 seasons. To complete that next step back, what do Arsenal need to do this summer? What kind of player, what kind of profile do you think your former team need to buy?
should get me back into the team.
Say that again.
So you should get me back into the team.
It's still fit enough.
No, honestly, not
Striker?
much.
Do they need a striker?
No, I don't think so. Not much. They need to. They've been consistent. They've been the team that is solid and giving a hard time
You just
to
need
City.
to beat West Ham next time. That's it.
Yeah.
And Aston Villa.
Details.
Yeah.
They dropped too many points against a smaller team, not against a big team. I think it's the first season that they don't lose against the top 5,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
When was the last time a team
You're not including Man U in that, are you?
No, it's Man U is not.
We're not top 5.
Man U and Tottenham, you can't.
Yeah. You don't count them
out the
anymore.
way.
You don't count them.
But it's probably the first time one team doesn't lose.
Well, you lost to Aston Villa both home and away, and they did finish top 4, lest we forget. But to your
Aston Villa
point,
has been strong team.
yeah, they're a good
I
team.
will be more bitter about Fulham game. You lost away and at home you drew.
Yeah.
That was a clincher for City,
Yeah.
I believe.
I think it's probably a mental thing, isn't it? And they're getting close. They're inching closer. It's almost when City run out of motivation. Pep's talked about how it's harder and harder to motivate himself and then motivate his players because they're running out of things to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I think when that balance tips, when Arsenal's hunger overtakes Man City's kind of insatiable appetite, that's when you'll see the league change hands.
Yeah, I think we might see a change next season.
We
might
need to.
see-
I think we
might
need
see
to.
a change, and I think they were really close to get to the top. I don't see Chelsea doing it next season. I don't see Liverpool doing it.
United.
I think Arsenal, United.
A little laugh.
I think Arsenal is the only team that can maybe disturb Man City.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Well, listen back. We could sit here all night talking all things football with you. It's great to see you. I know you're down here at the Coca-Cola Fan Zone by McGettigan's. Todd have brought you down here. They are the #1 sports and entertainment platform, of course. Do subscribe to Todd to watch all of your Euros anywhere, any device of your choosing as well. You're enjoying the setting. It's a great spot
I love
to watch
it. I love
football.
the atmosphere. I love the build-up. I love to see people happy, dancing, jumping, reacting to the game. But talking about Todd, it's a fantastic platform because you can even watch in different languages and you can see the live action. So
English,
it's good.
French, which you both speak fluently, of course, and Arabic. Last time we caught up with you, you were learning Arabic. How are you getting on?
أتكلم شوي.
Is that okay? Good.
تمام.
We're the wrong audience.
We are the wrong audience, but I could tell he's doing something right. Bacary, absolute pleasure, as it always is. You're always welcome to
Thank
join
you
us here
so
at
much.
Dubai 103.8. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll say it, Allez le bleu
Thank you.
for France.
Allez la France.
Euro 2024. Bacary Sagna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.